Good morning, Ancient Warrior here. What's the worst thing in the world that you could carry in your pocket for EDC, prepping, or just in general? Let's see. Live snake, maybe? That could be a bad thing. Could get bit when you stick your hand down in there. Sauerkraut? Yeah, if it's in a small enough container, yeah, that's probably what could be considered bad because of the odor. Let's get real. There are about 3 things in my book that you could carry that could be classed as your EDC worst thing in the world. Today we're going to look at the number one, in my view, guys, my channel, my views. The number one thing, worst thing in the world you could carry is a dull knife. Folks, I just had this conversation last night with a young lady. She borrowed my little pocket knife, and it scared her. She handed it back to me kind of jittery, and I asked her if everything was okay, and she said, "I've never seen a knife that sharp before." Really? You've never seen a knife that sharp? Sorry, but I'm still waking up. So I asked her, I said, "Do you carry a knife with you?" And she said she did, and she showed me the little knife she had. It was a little Gerber, not a bad little knife, but you couldn't have cut hot butter with it. And I asked her, I said, "Did your dad or mother not teach you how to keep a knife sharp?" She looked at me, she said she didn't think her dad or mother, either one, knew, because they just, every 3 or 4 years, was replacing all the knives in the house. Must be nice to have that kind of money. So I gave her one of these. I gave her one of these, folks. Now that is what I call a butterfly sharpener. On the top it says coarse carbide, steel. On the bottom it says fine ceramic. Self-explanatory. And I showed her how to use it. And she got her knife a little sharper. Then I pulled out my secret weapon. Ladies and gentlemen, my secret weapon is so easy to use. Anybody can do it. If you're smart enough to be a prepper, you're going to be able to do this deal. It's called a strop. For those of you that don't know what a strop is, remember when you used to watch the old cowboy movies and see old John Wayne or Kirk Douglas or Henry Ford walk into the barber shop, and you see they're sitting back getting ready to get a shave, and the barber reaches over and grabs that leather strap and runs his razor over it about half a dozen times, and then goes to start trimming on that beard. Folks, that is a strop. I use a strop more than I use this thing. Because, number one, folks, this wears down your blade. A strop doesn't. my knives, every knife I own, is sharp enough to shave with. Why is it that way? Guys, you don't know when you're going to have to cut a seat belt. When you're going to have to cut a piece of clothing because somebody's got it in a piece of machinery. Wouldn't that be embarrassing? You try to save somebody and your knife's not sharp enough to cut maybe jean material or, you know, that thicker denim stuff. You know, folks, we have certain responsibilities in this old world. And the biggest responsibility is we have to take care of each other. You know, there are people I help all the time that I may not really care for their views or their antics. But believe me, I will help them. Because that's what we do in America. Well, folks, I'm going to tell you that that's probably enough on the number one worst thing to carry in your pocket. My next video will be 2, and then my third one will be number 3, which will end this small series. So, folks, remember, get you one of these, and they're not that expensive. Last time I checked, they were about $3 a piece. Now, I get mine. For those of you that are in the Amarillo area, you can swing over to Knives Plus in Wolfland Village, and they'll be more than happy to sell you a couple of them. They'll also be happy to try to sell you a new knife too, and he's got quite a selection. So, folks, just remember, a dull knife don't do you any good. And that's just pure laziness on the owner's part. Once you know how to do it, if you're not keeping your knives sharp, that's just laziness. So, that's a world according to the ancient warrior. Have a good day.